My hat! Now we can go ahead, we have completed page 12. We can go ahead and go to page 13. So for this page, you will be needing NB2s, which are these black screws here. You will also be needing 2 of these countersunk screws, which are, let's see, MA5 right there. All right, perfect, we have those. And we're going to deal with these first, then we'll deal with the electronic speed control. The first thing I'm going to attach, I'm actually going to attach the steering components up here. All right. We have this. Alright, there's one. Now we need to do the other one. Good. Now you're going to flip the chassis, and you're going to start with the one on the left of the chassis, which is your right hand right now, the way you're looking at it. So that's going to be the first one, and that's because that hole is fixed. There's no adjustment, versus this one here, notice there's adjustment. So we're going to start here. Not tighten all the way. I'm going to set the other screw. This one I'm going to tighten all the way, and then I'll go back to the first one. All right. There we go. All right, so our servo is in place. Perfect. All right, and at this point, we need to go ahead and grab our ESC. We'll go ahead and do that. And that's this bag right over here. Do read the instructions. And here's the ESC, so you do get an ESC. So one of the things that you're going to need, clean this out with alcohol, and then you're going to grab one of these strips of tape, and you're going to tape that. Just a little circular motion, and just let the alcohol evaporate off whatever's left. You could also grab another towel or something and clear it. And then this, I'm just going to stick here. All right, that is set. And so now I'm going to clean the tub as well. Let it evaporate. In the meantime, I'm going to go grab that component. It's from this parts tree. And you're going to need this one as well. Right. All right, here we go. Let's try, let's get this And based on the drawing, we want us to go this way. So all of your wires are going to go toward the center. And so I'm just going to do a little test fit before I take the tape off. All right, that would fit nicely there. And the switch has to go in here. And that would fit there. And you have the 2 screws in there. Great. So let's go ahead and tape this up. All right, good. Now I'm going to take these 2 screws off and flip the switch over. Now one thing to notice, this is on, this is off. So the switch is going to go here with the wires going forward. Right? This is the front of the vehicle, wires go forward. And the reason why is that's what the sticker says. So I want it to match the sticker here. So let's go ahead and use our number 1, so Phillips number 1. This is the first non-differential components that we use a number 1 for. Everything else we've been using a number 2. All right, so again, on, off, I'm going to place this in here, and I'm going to flip this over, and I'm actually going to keep that little cover, and I'm going to slip the cover over with the screws. The cover's going to go there, and I'm going to grab my number 1. I'm going to line up the screws, though, with the holes, but I can't really see from this angle. Let's see. There we go. There's one, there's the other. Good, perfect. And that was it. And remember, just snug, do not over tighten. Right, there we go. Good. So now it's in the off position. And that is set. So right now we do not have a receiver ready for this. The receiver would just stick right on top of the servo, so you just grab it, place it on here. So we're going to skip that step for now. Right now what we want to do is we want to grab this plate here and install it. So this is the front of the vehicle. Actually, let me orient it this way. So that's the front. If you look at this, these 4, this is the rear and this is the front. Those 4 are the front. But before you install this in here, right, this would go in here like that. You actually need to install this here. And this is going to go on top. The other thing too is notice the holes right here. There's a large one. That piece of material, let's see, that goes on the large one. So flip it. There we go. And that's going to go here on the large one. And then you will simply be using one of the countersunk screws. It's MC6. MC6 countersunk. And it is not in that bag, so I have to look at another bag. Oh, it's one of the very first bags, this one way over here. That's where that screw is. And that is it. So now these things here go right on top of those steering bushings. And your receiver wire just goes in through there, your antenna, and we're going to go ahead and mount this because it's just a little piece of wire. It's flexible enough, it'll go through there. So now we need MA2s and MA1s. So MA1s go in the front, and MA1s are these long ones. And we're going to need 2 of those, which are these long black ones right here. So let's see, so these are the very front ones, and then the ones just behind it are MC4. MC4 are these threaded ones, and those threaded ones are in a completely different bag. So this is one of the bags that was in that C bag, so go ahead and take that bag, open it up, just dump the content out, and then right in here. And these you're going to want to use thread lock. So these are going to go back here. The black ones are going to go up there. So I'm actually going to begin just setting these in there. Now I'm going to put some thread lock on these. Place those there. It's just easier to keep track of screws this way. And for the rear, you're also going to be using different screws, so MA2s, and MA2s are the short silver ones, and there's 2 right there. And the MA2s go all the way to the rear, right here. They almost seem too short, to be honest. And then MA1s, those are those black long ones, just like these. Actually, no, the MC1s, sorry, it's MA1s long, MC1s short. So these are these here, the short black ones. Here we go. So these will go in these holes right over here. And these here, I'm going to remove them because it's actually these longer ones right over here. No wonder they felt a little short. So let me go ahead and take these out. And these will go in. So just make sure you have the correct ones. So they're a little longer. If you place the wrong screw, you'll be able to tell right away. I'm going to start with the rear. You don't have to start with the rear, you can start with the front ones. Alright, now I'm going to go to the front. And these I'm going to get close. I'm not going to tighten them fully. Alright, so I'm working with these. Now I'm going to go to the silver ones. And I'm going to tighten the silver ones down first. So this one is close. This one is close. I'm going to tighten this one fully. Then I'll go back to this. a little too tight. So just check everything, make sure nothing binds. All right, good. Now I'm going to do the top screws. And that is it. So at this point, we need to connect the motor, but we also need this motor plate. And for that, you're going to need this parts tree, and it's this shield right here. So it's just a shield for the motor. All right, here we go. So we have this here. Now, we're not going to be using the transponder holder because we're not going to be using a transponder, but the transponder holder would go back here in these holes in the back. So if you are planning on using a transponder, just a quick little note, you're going to be cutting this out, and you're going to be attaching it to this piece. All right, back to this one. So this one, you're going to need different types of screws. You're going to need an MC5. So MC5 is going to be this screw right here, which should be one of these. MC5. All right. So you're going to be looking at that bag, the one with the wheel nuts, and that one has the MC5, and that's the one that's going to go into this top hole right here. And it's plastic, so you do not need thread lock. You will also be needing an MA2. And MA2 is the long silver one, which will be this bag right over here. That's the one. And this one is actually going to replace a screw. So let me just place this here. So per the instructions, you remove that screw and it gets replaced with this one. So that screw was just in there to hold this place. So if you don't run this shield, you run that screw. If you run the shield, you take this one out. Now this shield, I'll be honest, this is probably just so you don't touch and burn yourself, but this is going to work as an insulator. So later on, you may want to run it off or not. I'm going to build it per spec. So let's go ahead and remove this screw. And the difference in length is not that much, to be honest. But it's enough to make the difference on whether or not you can mount this shield on properly. Silver screw goes to the side. That's it. And then the dark screw goes up top. And that is all. So we have completed page 13, up to page 13. All right, so some of you will be running a transponder. So one of the things to note about the transponder is if you are going to be running one, so let's just say you're going to be racing, you're going to need this little device here. And this here, you're just going to snap off. And you will just need 2 of the regular silver screws right here. And this is going to go right here, and it's going to be pointing outward on the chassis. So your transponder is just going to go here, and then you would just put your little clip on there, and that would be it. To be honest, it depends on the type of transponder you're running. But many hobby shops, they have those that just kind of go in here, and then you use a little body clip to hold it in place. So you will need your number 2 Phillips. And I'm just starting one, and then I'll do the other one. And then once I have them both, that's when I'll tighten both of them together. Here we go. And if you're not running a transponder, I mean, you can take this off if you want, or just leave it on. I mean, this is stock form. So after this, just remember this goes on your steering, right there. And the other thing that you can do at this point is, we don't have a receiver. We can run the receiver in here if we like. But at this point, you would just put your screws back on as the previous video. All right, so for the receiver, we have this receiver that we're going to be installing. This is going to be here temporarily, then we're going to swap it out. The receiver you simply attach to the servo. So this is just going to be here on the servo, and we're going to go ahead and place it there. There is some double stick, let me show you, double stick tape here. You would use the one provided by the manufacturer. So Tamiya does provide these here, and you can use these, or you can use the other strip actually, which is this double-sided tape. Remember there were two, and we cut one of them off to mount the ESC. Use the other one for the receiver. This receiver is going to be here temporarily. One of the things that you want to make sure though when you mount it is that you can connect everything. So channel 1 is going to be your steering, so you're going to grab your steering. It's going to go in channel 1. And then channel 2 is your ESC, and you want to connect your channel 2. We're going to have to fix these wires, make them neat later. Once that is there, we know this works, and we need to run the antenna tube. Now, I'm going to remove this plate. If you look in here, the rearward hole, that's the one where the antenna goes through. So you would just place the antenna wire through there, and you would just pull this out. And that is all. Now, I didn't put much tape on here. Did it on purpose because I was going to remove it, so let me actually go ahead and put some more tape. Alright, so to mount your receiver, you just grab tape. There is tape provided. You would use this one to mount your receiver. Right? This is what came with this. But I am going to be using this other tape. And the receiver is just going to go on your servo. The only thing that you have to do is just make sure you run the antenna wire on the second hole, this one right here. This one has the screw that mounts this. Let me get this closer to the camera. See? So it's the second one. That's where the wire comes through. Connect your servo to channel 1, and then ESC goes to channel 2. And then you can just mount your receiver on top of your servo. And that's where your servo goes. Now you have the antenna wire here. Now I'm going to move these other wires so they're not in the way. And now you can grab your tubing. So the antenna tube is this clear tube. You will have to cut it down to size. But this just goes in here, and then you're going to have to press it in. So there. You will press it in. So as you can see, this is way too long. The antenna is right about here. It's about a third of the way, actually more than a third of the way. So you're going to have to cut this about halfway, and then more than likely you're going to have to bend it when you place the body. Or just keep the tubing off, and I would just tape the antenna. With some good old duct tape. and that's it. So once you have these on, you can go ahead and put the screws. Just remember which ones go where, and I generally like to keep them in order. So we're just going to go ahead and put the rears on. We're actually just going to set the screws in. Now remember not to over tighten these here on the steering. If you over tighten them, it will make your steering bind. All right, and that is it. So now the only thing that we have left is connecting the ESC. For the ESC, if it's red or orange, in this case we have an orange, there's no red, that's going to go to the yellow wire. So it'll go to the yellow wire in the motor, which is this. And there's no way of making a mistake. I know there's a yellow wire here, but this is a female, this is a male terminal. So these two will just connect. Not sure if you heard the snap in the camera, there's a little snap. So that is set. And then the blue or black, it might be black or blue, will go to the green. And once you hear the snap, feel the snap, it is connected. You will not be using this yellow wire. You can just hold it. You do get these tie straps that you can use to bond them together. So here, it just depends on how you want to attach them. But here, this is for the battery. You will need a Tamiya plug for your other batteries. So I'm going to tie strap one right here. And that's going to be with a servo. That's going with the servo. Be right here. And then after that, all you need to do is just use your snips or any type of plier, really, that has a cutting surface, and just snap the end off. And that is it. If you're not running a transponder, you can just set the wires there. And then you're going to have to do the same thing to the servo wire and the ESC. An easy thing would be to just fold them like this. So all I did was I just looped them. Let me zoom in. So this is the wire here, and all I did is I just created a loop. Right? So you grab it, and then grab the wire, and then just kind of twist, and it'll create a loop. And then you can just create another loop if you wish, just so it's smaller. And I do that by just twisting the other way. And then here, I can just secure this. And this wire here, you can just loop it as well, twist, and then you are just going to put your tie strap in here. And that is it. So let me just grab the tie strap and run this. This is a lot easier if you have a third hand, but if you only have two hands, that's all right. That is all you do. So at this point, just trim that. And you're all set. Everything's buttoned up. The wires look neat. Nothing's hanging or protruding. So we're all set. We can continue on with the next step.